what's up, guys? Welcome to the Deeper Podcast. You have me again.
Back with Brother Caleb.
When are we going to stop doing that? You have me again thing. I just always start with that. I don't know what else to do.
It is special. It is special to have you. I mean, my goodness. I
don't just do the music.
Maybe more like once a month now.
Yeah, it has.
You know, like you're a featured podcast co-host now. So it's not just oh crud, what are we going to do? We're down to this guy. In fact, you may be doing this by yourself. As you guys can tell listening to me right now, I don't have a lot of voice left.
Oh my gosh. So I'm not ready for that.
It's
really just going to be a bunch of yes the whole time.
The whole staff has been so excited that I can't talk. My house is as peaceful as it's ever been.
I don't know. It's been more quiet around here.
The Lord's really teaching me some things, I guess, right now. But yeah, so I was a little under the weather Sunday.
Yeah.
I kind of, just because it's Easter, I went to the doctor, got like a horse tranquilizer. I don't even know. I guess didn't actually go to the doctor, but I took a bunch of meds and came up here and rocked it out and pushed through because I knew, man, that's first day with 2 services and all that. I knew I needed to be full energy everywhere. Some days when you're not feeling 100%, you kind of sit in your office and rest a little, drink some hot tea and all that. But Sunday, I knew I needed to be out and about and visible and excited. So, man, I just took some medicine and turned it up to 10. But woke up yesterday morning and Mallory said, oh, okay, that's enough. You got to go to the doctor. So,
Well, speaking of Sunday,
yeah.
Can I just say what an awesome day Sunday was?
It's pretty awesome, man.
It was just, first time with 2 services, kind of kicking it off, but just the spirit, just the celebration and just the overall time Sunday. I don't know. It was just awesome.
It was a good day.
Really enjoyed Sunday.
Yeah, starting 2 services, we were a little anxious about how that would go. And it went well. And I guess there's no way to test something for the first time like testing it 1,010%. So we're worried about how this is going to go and what it's going to look like. Well, now we know what 2 services looks like when you almost need crazy. 3 services. Because it was insane. So first service starts, it's about 8:15, and there's not that many people in the room yet. And we're looking around, and we're like, well, okay, this is decent. This is good enough. And, that'll help open up room for the second service. But in that 15 minutes between 8:15 to 8:30, and honestly, the first 10 minutes of the service as well, people kept coming. By the time the smoke cleared, the first service had 244 people in it.
Yeah.
Which honestly is it would be a little low for a Sunday, but it's Sundays that we've had in the last 6 months. There have been several Sundays that we would have been happy with 244. And I laughed because some of our deacons jokingly said, Brother Roger grabbed me and said, hey, Rusty. And I said, what? What's up, man? And he said, you got a big problem here. And if you know Brother Roger Widener, he's the goat of dry humor.
Yeah.
So he said that with complete deadpan look. And I said, what is it, brother? And he said, so many came now, you're not going to have anybody in your next service. So then they all laughed, and I laughed too, but I was also like, a little bit nervous about it. Like, he might be right.
Yeah.
Because it was so big. The turnout was so good at 8:30. We wondered what 10:45 would look like.
What would it look like?
But then came 10:45, and we haven't cleaned up yet. There's literally chairs that people dragged in there. So we ended up having somewhere around 350 in the room. Plus, all of our kids' ministry from that number, so I don't know exact for that service. But all in all, between the 2 services, we ended up with that 654 people on campus. So blown away, man. Like if you would have, we jokingly talk about the over-under, right? Like what our over-under is for events. Our staff always kind of does that. I think I would have put the over-under at 500.
Yeah.
And it would have been a little audacious. I would have taken the over, hopefully. But I was hoping to clear 500. But if you would have told me we would have had 650 plus, if the over-under would have been 650, I'm taking the under every time. But God, again, exceeded our expectations beyond what we expected. And so grateful for that, man. Because numbers matter. People are like, oh, well, they're getting all hung up on the numbers. Well, every one of those numbers is a soul. It's a person who not only in our church family that we got to love on and share this experience with, but many of those are people who are not normally here and aren't normally in church. And Sunday, they were exposed to the greatest news of all time, that Jesus is really alive and that he really stands ready to change your life. So what a great day, man. And I want to give shout-outs to some people. So lots of people who were integral to what happened that day. First, our brand new hospitality team. By the way, the reason that Brother Caleb is here today is because he is right now the director of that hospitality team. So great job launching a new team, man.
Yes, yeah, we could not have done it without everybody just being willing to serve on a day that's busy, on a weekend that's busy. People just willing to do it and willing to put in that time, and I think it went very good.
So I put a thing on Facebook this morning giving a shout out to Miss Penny. I don't know if Brother Roland and Miss Penny listen to this, but they'll hear us kind of elaborate on this. Miss Penny, as part of the women's ministry, had also kind of been handed the greeter ministry, is what they called it. And she had a great team of greeters that served during the Sunday school hour, but they didn't serve during the church hour. So we built off the foundation Miss Penny established for us, and many of those people are serving on your hospitality team. But what we essentially did is we said, hey, the greeters that are at one door at one time, what if we double the workload and triple the amount of places that we're greeting? So our greeters under our hospitality team, that team has grown exponentially. God's given us leaders in all of those places, and every door we've got people waiting for you with a smile and a handshake and a hug for both of our services. So, man, just so thankful for all of you who said yes to the Lord as he called you to do that, and for Brother Caleb and the rest of the people as they're putting it together. And I'm excited about that ministry. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
and our other volunteers, our nursery and pre-K and kids.
I'll get to them in a second. I'm not done with the hospitality team yet.
Okay.
Because another big part of the hospitality team is our coffee bar.
Absolutely.
And we've got, Corey and Ron, and this Sunday, most Sundays, is Brother Terry, Travis. And one thing I wanted to give a shout out to Brother Terry. Number one, we brewed about twice as much coffee as normal, so that's kind of wild. I think we probably will continue doing more coffee with more services. But on top of that, a pretty funny thing happened with Terry. At the end of church, he was standing in the lobby as people left, telling them thanks for coming and just being, again, hospitable, a good host. And as people were leaving, they started taking pictures at the backdrop Casey had made, which, by the way, if you hadn't seen those pictures, they're awesome. Casey always crushes it with her projects. She's so creative and gifted. Thankful how the Lord uses her in so many ways, but particularly these holidays, people love those photo opportunities. So, so many people are stopping taking pictures. So somebody asked Brother Terry, hey, could you take our picture? And he said, yeah, sure. And then as he's taking their picture, this big line of people and family starts gathering. So Brother Terry ended up being the unofficial photographer for however long, 15, 20 minutes after church, taking pictures of families. And he's like, I might as well take, we started to take one of the kids. And Terry said, you and Mallory get in there. I was like, oh, you don't have to do that. And he's like, I'm taking everybody else's. So we didn't even have a phone. Brother Terry used his phone and then sent us the pictures. So we got the full service. But Brother Terry, we're so grateful for him. Absolutely. He's such a servant leader in our church. And so that's part of our hospitality team too. And just kind of putting a bug in some of our listeners' ears for the days to come, that hospitality team is going to grow. You say, well, why'd y'all change the name? Because hospitality encompasses more than just our greeters. So our greeters are part of that, but also our coffee team. But we hope to have a couple of other stations in the Commons, one that will be kind of a welcome area for first-time guests, and we'll need people to man that section. And also we hope to have a prayer team established that will be in that area as well. So on Sunday mornings, we've just noticed that, yes, people respond during the invitation, and we're grateful for that. And most weeks we will have an invitation, but there will be some weeks where we don't. And we know that more people have responded after church than during church. So we want to almost create a space for them to be able to go and receive prayer.
Absolutely.
And man, we just think that'll be a cool ministry too. So in the weeks and months to come, the hospitality team is actually just going to grow. So we're thankful for that. So where you going?
Where am I
after
going?
Hospitality? I cut you off. You were trying to thank some other people.
Oh yeah, just thanking all the other volunteers that made it possible. I mean, our kids ministry, our nursery, pre-K, all that.
Those all doubled. They doubled in size.
Absolutely.
They doubled in workload. And man, it was just so cool to see all those running. We're grateful for how the Lord has done that. And I will say thank you to you and your team.
Yes, sir.
So the difference in all those other ministries is they use different people at different times. But your worship team, essentially, it's going to be your same people doing it twice.
Yeah.
And their willingness to serve has been a blessing, and excited to see how God's going to continue to use that. So audio-visual team and your people on the worship team.
Yeah.
So, man, just so grateful. What a great day all the way around. And, this didn't happen to me Sunday. My voice, Saturday night, I really didn't have any problems with my voice until last night. So, ironically, after I'd gone to the doctor and got an antibiotic and a steroid shot, I started losing my voice. So, there's that. But grateful, because if this had happened Saturday night, it would have made Sunday incredibly difficult for me.
Yeah.
But thankful that the Lord let it all happen and we made it go.
Yeah. So, you ready to get into Sunday's sermon?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Yeah. So Sunday was real good. Sunday service.
What did I talk about Sunday? What did I talk about Sunday?
We talked about the resurrection
there
of Jesus
you go.
Christ.
I'll just make sure you remember.
It's Easter
the sermon.
Sunday.
By the way, I'm hoping y'all hear me well. Did you see? Literally, if you're watching on camera, I asked that question and Caleb literally had to lean over and say, "Come again? What was that?"
Sheer
that's how quiet
shock
my voice
and
is
nervousness.
right now. Yeah. I think he was afraid I called him to the carpet. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we talked about the resurrection, Matthew 28.
Yes.
And we go to Matthew 28 a lot for the Great Commission, Matthew 28, 19, 18 through 20. But today, yesterday, or the day before yesterday, sorry, we're a day late on the podcast, we talked about the resurrection, man. And every Easter, spoiler alert, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Every Easter, not just talking about the resurrection, we'll go to different passages, but one of the things I want to just drill into our heads and our hearts every one of these Easters, and probably a lot of Christmases as well, is that this is history. This really happened.
Yeah.
And if this really happened, and what I would say is because this really happened, everything should be different. And I think Easter is the prime time to stop and say, guys, this isn't theoretical. This isn't religion. This isn't just gobbledygook. This is real life. Jesus really died and really rose again, and that is the foundation of everything. If Jesus didn't rise from the dead, we're wasting our time.
Yeah.
But because Jesus is alive, you and I can be too, and because that's reality, everything changes, and we're so thankful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, like how are we going to respond to the fact, like knowing that this stuff really happened, how do we respond?
Yeah.
What do we do with that?
Yeah, and that's what I tried to say, at that one point is, man, do you want to bring revival to your life? Do you want to bring revival to your family? Do you want to bring revival to our community and our nation? The way you do it is this radical idea of actually living as if Jesus is alive.
Yeah.
Because it changes the way. When you focus on eternity, when you focus on the eternal, it changes the way you think about everything. We're reading Knowing God right now. You're reading that book with me by the great theologian J.I. Packer. I named my dog after him. So if you ever see my dog named Packer, it's not about the Green Bay Packers. Don't dare suggest that. It's because of Jim Packer, the great theologian, Anglican theologian. But we're reading his book with a group of other pastors, and he had a section talking about knowing God. And when he says knowing God, I'm not talking about knowing about God. I'm talking about really knowing him. And if you've known God, then even the crosses that you bear in life, quote unquote crosses you bear in life, are not really crosses.
Yeah.
Because you've known God.
Yeah.
And if you've really known God, then it changes everything in your life. And that's essentially what I preached on Sunday morning, was that this really happened. And because this really happened, the invitation is not just to observe the religious ritual that is Easter, but instead to come and worship Jesus, truly come and know him and build your life around him. And then secondly, go and tell everybody that this is real and that this good news exists for them too.
Yeah, and like you said, it's something that we hear every year when this time comes around, especially, Christmas too. We hear the story every year, and it becomes just a part of the tradition.
Yeah.
It becomes a part of the, like I said, the story. And it's important for us to realize this stuff really happened, It's just...
Yeah, my family every year will try to dye eggs. Yeah. And we'll talk about the Easter Bunny in some fun ways. We watch It's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown. And if you're not careful, the story that changes history gets thrown in that lot, and it's just another piece of the puzzle for Easter weekend.
Yeah.
And, I've said this before about a lot of other things, but it seems like, and by the way, big advocate of family.
Yeah.
I went and spent time with my family, loved it. It was incredible, such a blessing. But somewhere along the way, we've taken a holy day and turned it into a holiday.
Yeah.
And Easter, instead of being about Jesus, has almost become supplanted by family.
Yeah.
Our family things are more important than actually stopping to worship Jesus. Guys, this one belongs to Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like we'll rearrange. So this is Jesus's holiday. So I would encourage our families. Of course, we're past Easter now, so maybe this podcast would be better served on Palm Sunday podcast next year. But some things Mallory and I've tried to do, and by the way, we're not perfect. Be around us and our kids very much. You'll see this. But for example, with the Easter Bunny, even Reed and Robert right now don't believe in the Easter Bunny. Now, I'm not saying you can't do the Easter Bunny. By the way, we do Santa, so I know that's a whole argument, and I don't even want to get into that in this podcast. But because we are in ministry and because we're so dedicated to getting ready for Easter Sunday, we just knew that it's hard to, we didn't want to have to be like, hey, a magical bunny brought you presents. Now let's shift into worship. That's a hard transition to make with a bunch of little kids.
Yeah.
So we literally have said the Easter Bunny is a fun thing that we do to celebrate new life and to celebrate the new beginnings that comes with the resurrection. So that's just a fun part of Easter. So they know the Easter Bunny's not legit. That they just know that's a fun thing we do at Easter. So we always say Easter's all about Jesus. And some would say, well, why don't you do that with Christmas? Well, we do. We very much keep them in different things. Here's what I will say, moms and dads who may be listening, and I think this is important. I wish I had a better voice because some of y'all have probably bailed by this point, but I think this is important for parents. If your parent, because here's the great fear, if you do Santa and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and all that, there are people who say, I'm never going to lie to my kids. Because if you do, I had a sister-in-law who one time said when she found out Santa wasn't real, she was like, oh, so Santa, well, what about the Easter Bunny? What about Tooth Fairy? And as she's figuring out, the snowball effect that happens when you realize that it's all been your mom and dad, she finally at the end said, oh, wait, so Jesus too?
Yeah.
And that story horrifies parents of the possibility of that happening. Here's what I would tell you. If Jesus is the same presence in your home as the Easter Bunny and Santa and the Tooth Fairy and is used in the same way, you're doing it wrong. Your children ought to be able to see that your entire life is built around Jesus.
Yeah. Jesus
should not be in the same category as these other benevolent things that bring you fun gifts a few times throughout the year.
Yeah.
Again, some parents make choices differently. So some of you are like, that's why you should never do it. And I'm okay with parents who make that decision.
Yeah.
But every parent's got to navigate that on their own. But what I would say is it should be abundantly clear to your kids that Jesus is in a totally different category than everything else, because Jesus isn't something you do seasonally.
Yeah.
But I think that is honestly something that ought to convict some of our families, is that we treat Jesus in a seasonal manner.
Yeah.
Only when we really need him, only when things are really bad, only when things are really good. And Jesus is just kind of a force out there that we call upon randomly a few times a year. So if Jesus is in the same category as the Easter Bunny, I want to encourage you parents to ditch the bunny and build your life around Jesus in such a way that your kids can know this is not only what Easter's all about and what Christmas is all about, but this is what our life is all about. Jesus.
Yeah, and just like your kids see you get excited for the Easter Bunny and for Christmas, like they're going to see you be excited about Jesus. They're going to see that in the way you respond and the way you're celebrating, the resurrection in your household. So
yeah, they'll see if you're excited about Christmas on April 27th.
Oh, we got to go to church.
Easter, I mean. Did I say Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll see if you're excited about Jesus on April 27th.
Yeah.
And May the, whatever it is, 4th. May the 11th. And listen, I'm not saying that you just showing up at church means you're building your life around Jesus, but that's part of it. Like, your children need to see that Jesus plays a pivotal role in everything you do in your life.
Yeah, don't let that be just, we got to fit this in the schedule somehow.
Yeah.
Like, let this be
the
center thing of attention. Like, we get to go to church to celebrate Christ's resurrection.
Yeah.
And so
Jesus again is not a ritual to be observed.
Yeah.
He's a savior to be experienced daily in your life.
Yeah.
So because the resurrection is real, Jesus is alive, and I pray that he would be alive in our homes, in our marriages, in our workplaces, and everything else, because that changes things.
Yeah. Yeah, and just, knowing God, knowing what he's done for us, being excited about that, not letting that spark that you had in your Christianity, in the beginning fade away,
Yeah.
that reminder is,
Yeah.
is great to have every year. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a great Sunday, man, and I'm looking forward to this Sunday. Still kind of working on where we're going, but I'm excited to preach again and excited to see what the Lord's going to do here in the days ahead. So, man, keep inviting people.
Yeah.
Easter isn't the only time that you can invite somebody to church. Those statistics that I share still count even when it's not Easter. 80% of people say they are somewhat likely to attend if invited by somebody they know.
Yeah.
So, man, reach out and invite people, and let's just continue to see what the Lord does here in the days ahead.
Yeah, and keep praying for us as staff. We're praying for our church and for volunteers. I can tell you right now, the Lord has given me energy in this season, just excitement about what's going on. But just keep praying for us.
Yeah.
That we have the wisdom and the stamina to do what the Lord's called us to do.
And the voice.
Yeah, and the voices.
So
yeah.
I don't have to teach tomorrow night. If you're watching this, you're obligated now to come still, if you're usually here on Wednesday nights. Actually, Brother Gary's going to preach. He's excited, and it'll be a great word from him. So excited about that. But, yeah, man, things keep clicking along, and we're pumped to be part of it. So,
yes.
Thank y'all for listening today.
Yep.
A little shorter episode, but I can't talk that much, so we got to do what we got to do.
Yep. We love you guys. Y'all have a good week.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Shalom in the home. Happy Easter.